Okay, if you've had trouble changing color changer to color string changer, or strike that, reverse it, this is for you. Now be sure that you understand why I'm making the changes that I make and what they change in the program. Otherwise, you're going to be really struggling tomorrow. But that's okay, I'm going to explain it. So first, sometimes people forget to change the metadata, but it's really important. Because if we don't do it, then well, let's just say it's a bad habit. And if you ever work with code, it's important. Okay, so we don't need to change the import of tk-enter. We don't need to change the root or the womb title. Oh, wait, yeah, we do. Hexadecimal, that doesn't make any sense. So let's just call it hexadecimal color explorer. Ooh, pretty. Okay, we've got our two sliders, and they're beautiful. They don't need to be changed unless you prefer to default this to 1 or 255 or something. They're okay. Remember that this sets the variable. For red int var, this tells it it's an int instead of a float or a string, and this sets it. Remember that we have things that set it and things that get it. And so here are the setters for red and green. Now we could have called these anything, but calling them int var makes it a little easier in the future. Now, we're going to go ahead and leave our function called color changed. That will be lovely, but we need let's see, we're going to leave our editor. We're going to go ahead and continue to print the things that are there, and everything is beautiful. Everything is lovely, but we need one more item here. As we change the color, we need something that's going to change on the canvas, right? So we're going to create a canvas, and we're going to configure the item. Make it a circle. We'll call it circle item. We could call it, again, Steve or Bob or Charlie. And we're going to fill it with this int var again. Now I'm just concatenating, and I'm going to do this all on one line, like they have not done it below. But you notice that I am just copying what they have. Except I'm trying to see my keyboard in the dark. There we go. Now here's, I gotta turn the light on. Here's the biggest mistake people make in this. And this was pointed out to me by a student. They copy this /n, but you don't need the /n because you're not going to the next line. This is not a visual thing. This is a, oh, that's wrong. This is the actual item. Now I decided we're going to call the thing circle item. And we're going to do this on the canvas. Now it's giving me fits because I haven't created the canvas yet. I haven't created the circle item yet. And some people like to do that first. In fact, usually I like to do it first. But today I'm not going to. Now if you don't like all of this on one line, the next line character would be the \. And now it knows that we're just going down to the next line. It just looks a little bit prettier. I'm going to make it go over a little more so it matches the one below it. Or almost matches the one below it. Oh, there we go. Now it's glorious and beautiful. And so that's good. Now we don't need to change what we see. We don't need to change the insert. But we've got to create this canvas. Now looking here, let's not change our sliders. If you want to, for a later assignment, if you want to add another slider, remember to instantiate the blue slider up here, but instead of just copying and pasting this. Now we've got the sliders, we've got the text, except instead of color code, I'm going to change this to circle color. I'll teach you something a little bit right here. If you want to mix, like say that I want to have an apostrophe here, so I want to say the circle's color. Because I use a different format of quotes here, because I use the double quotes here, I can use the single apostrophe here and it won't mess it up. Stupid little thing, but it's handy because you'll want that at some point. Hey, now we've already got our editor right here, but what we don't have is the creation. Here by where it says create the view, we haven't actually created a circle on the canvas, and we also haven't created the canvas. So explain what I'm doing here. Canvas, and you could call your canvas again whatever you want, but it's easiest if you just call it canvas, and I use that object up here, so I'm going to call it canvas equals tkenter.canvas. I'm going to make it 300 pixels wide. I'm going to make it 300 pixels tall. And remember, back a few assignments ago, we created a document that you could kind of copy, so you could kind of look at how you created each one of these things. And as you try to create a canvas, if you don't already have one, you know, refer to that old assignment, and that'll help you. So I've created my canvas. I've made it white. I've set its width and its background, and I'm doing it with the root. And remember, I set my root up here to tkenter. So I'm using tkenter to create this canvas. Now, of course, I need to say where I want my canvas to be. Row 0. But I'm going to make it more than one row wide. Now, that's beautiful. Now, on my canvas, if you'll recall, I need a circle. So what did I call my circle? I called it circle item. So down here, I'm going to create my circle. And I called it circle item. Now, you've already done one of these. You could copy this from your position changer. Now, in this case, because I've got that comma there, I don't have to say, oh, I'm going down to the next line. It'll just assume that I am. Because it's expecting something, and the first place it looks for it is on the next line. Half the time I have to count my zeros. So I created my outline there, and I could make it a different color if I felt like it, but that'll be beautiful. Create a nice contrast with the outside. Alright, so I've got both of those, and that looks good. Now really I ought to refer to an initialization constant here, but I'm just going to make my life as easy as possible and not do that right now. Okay, I've got my editor. That looks good. Now, to 2 digits, that's good. The hex string that I'm creating doesn't really need to be changed. It's sufficient. I just need to be able to use this when it returns it to actually change the color on the in the thing. Now, I've got my X and my R and my Y and my R, and I did not assign those anything. So I'm going to need to set up those values. So I'm going to go back up here to the top. It's best to do it up at the top. So here I'm going to create some global variables. If I do them outside of a function, they are automatically global variables. If I create them inside the function, then they are not. Well, let's make it 100 so it's a little bigger. All right, let's test it. And oh dear. What did I forget? I think you know what I forgot. I forgot to change the position of the editor. So let me just find my editor where I create it. Row 0, column 0. But that's the same place I created my canvas. So let me change this to row 4, say. And wait, that's not right. I've got my sliders and I like where they are. Oh, duh, column. What am I thinking? And then it's still not working. Text is in the grid. Oh, because that's the text, not the item, not the editor. What am I not thinking very well? Column 1, it's the same column. Now it'll work. Sometimes you just have to think right. Hey, so there you go. And let me explain. I need to think my life through a little better. This text, the text is like the, well, I'll show you. If I run this here, it's changing. No, it's not even visible because it's hidden behind the thing there. But if I move it back to where it belongs, you can see it. Or maybe you can't. Oh. Whatever. So I was changing the wrong value. This is hidden behind other stuff. I should have put it somewhere else, probably row 0. But here, this is where I actually instantiated my editor. When you're in a hurry, you do stupid stuff. So don't do that.